technical difficulty, nothing new here on Chasin Tails. We were able to get Eric in though. Eric, welcome to Chasin Tails. Happy to
Hey
have you
guys,
join us.
thanks.
Yeah. How's your off season been so far?
Pretty busy. A long winter, but everything looks good. The boat's ready. I'm just hoping that nice weather is coming now.
Yeah, yeah. Seems like you
Mhm.
a lot of things have came together for you the last couple weeks. New paint job, just got the engine dyno and in the boat. Everything's looking good.
Yep, yep. Just got it last week. Got the motor all refreshing, brand new pistons and all that. So I am pretty confident that it's gonna be a good motor and a good year.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We know the boat, and you as a driver are very competitive. You've been right there at the top the last couple of years in HRL, and I said I think it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago that you're my pick for H350 champion next year.
No pressure,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah. Hey, we've had a couple we've made a couple of things happen here on Chasing Tails. So hopefully
Ah,
we
cool.
can add a little support in the right direction. It didn't work for Paul Barber, but maybe it'll be different in your
Oh, hope so.
case. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where you're from, how you got introduced into the sport, and kind of your upbringing in boat racing.
Okay, so well, many of you guys know I'm from Valleyfield. That's why the big accent I have. Usually I speak French, so please help me with that. I'm from Valleyfield. I always went to watch the Valleyfield regattas. My first regatta was in 1988. How old were you guys in
I
'88?
negative 11.
Yep. Negative
That's
14.
my first. I was only 4 years old, but it was my first regatta, the big 50th anniversary and all that. So
Very cool.
every summer I was there with my family, my mom, my aunts, my dad. Not too long, but yeah, went there ever since. I never went anywhere else, so I only knew Valleyfield and I knew a couple of races here and there, but I've been a fan all my life. And in 2015, I had my own company, a construction company, and I sponsored one of my friends, Remy Leblanc. He was in 2.5 back then,
Hmm.
and that what gave me the big rush to go in the pits and all that. Sponsored him 2 years, and the year after I bought his boat. So that's how I started in the racing activities. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds like we've talked to a couple drivers from Valleyfield, and it's a lot of the same.
Mm.
It seems like if you're born there and you got a connection to racing, it's kind of a when thing, not an if thing.
Yeah, it's in our blood.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this small of a sport as we are, the fact that there's a town with so many drivers, boats, crew members. I mean, if we started counting crew or even crew in an individual race, you're talking tons of people from that town that are involved in the racing every year. Aside from the fact that they're just present at the arguably the biggest race of the year. So I know
Yeah.
I was watching some old HRL ACHA, hydroplane hydroplane Quebec videos the last couple of weeks, and I saw a couple of heats with you back in your 2.5 stock days.
Yeah, one of my favorite races was with Alexi Weber. We
Hmm.
had a good few ones. She was a good racer back then. Yep,
Yeah. Do you
had
know
fun.
Do you know who has your boat now?
Yeah, it's Tommy Shannon.
Tommy Shannon. Okay.
Yep, yep.
It's
And
it's it's a nice track.
when I sold my boat, I sold it to Mario Blanc, and it was Stephanie Blanc that drove it. She only drove it a year, and after that, Tommy Shannon bought it, and
Gotcha.
he has it ever since. Yep.
Gotcha. So be it that you're driven in both classes, what would you say is the we've asked a few people this. What's the biggest difference going for 2.5 stock Formula 2500 to a Hydro 350?
Well, the size
Mm-hmm.
first. When you enter the corner with the bolts on each side, the 350 is, it's wider and all that. Only at the beginning, and it got a little more horsepower, so
Mm-hmm.
it feels you feel it in the steering wheel. But I only drove a year in 2.5, so I'm more used to drive the 350 now. It's been
Okay.
7 years now in the 350. So the biggest thing is at first the size of the boat, and after that the power. The power is get out of the corner a little quicker. Well, the top speed is, it goes fast, but it never goes fast enough. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
The continuous problem of boat racing,
yep, yep,
solvable
yep.
problem. So where was it? It was we talked to you in the at the banquet or the gala. Was it the second place the last 2 years?
Well, yeah, I was a real second place this year, but
Yeah.
2 years ago was the story with Nicolas and all that.
Hmm.
I finished third, but with the disqualification of Nicolas, I finished second. So it's been 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years second. We'll try to finish first, but it's not gonna be easy. All the new guys, everyone's getting quicker. Well, the younger guys get in, like the lady coach and all that. So it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, I know
No.
when we talked to you up there, we asked you what your favorite part of the class was, and you said the competitiveness. And
Oh yeah,
we've talked about it on the podcast a bunch, but 350s, it's but between the number of boats present every weekend, the tight you know type of racing that it is, as well as the speeds that they go, it's really hard to find that show. GP is very fast and they do have tight racing, but it's not very often you see 20 of them at a race every weekend. And you can have a little bit of an off heat and still be okay for the final. And 350, it doesn't matter which HRL event you're at. You go out and get a penalty or go out and drop a
yeah,
DNF in a heat, it's over.
yeah. If you want to make the final, you have to do at least two wins in the qualification. So
Yeah.
it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
You can't jump a gun. You can't have a penalty.
Yeah.
You won't do the final. So if you win the consi, well, you're lucky.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I know every year, I mean, especially the last 2 years that I've paid close attention, being at the races. I mean, the first through fifth in 350 at the end of the year is what, 30, 40 points, maybe max, if that.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
that's the championship. But on the racetrack, they're as quick as everyone. So
yeah.
it's really the lane is important.
Hmm.
The starts are important. The first turn is important. But
Yeah.
after that, the speed, everyone goes fast in that class.
Yeah. First turns in 350 are always fun to watch because you always see five, six of them go that way, and you never know how many are coming back that way when they get there in turn.
You enter the corner, and it's gonna be Niagara Falls in the movement.
Yep.
But you know, it's a part of the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you said you've been racing 350 this is your seventh year, right?
Yeah, we had COVID, but we didn't
Hmm.
race a year. So yeah,
Yeah.
I started in 2017 in
Okay.
350.
Now,
Yeah.
do you think in the future it'd be a goal of yours to move up to, say, a Grand Prix?
Well, I wish I could, uh, but it's so expensive
Yeah.
being in that class.
Hmm.
You have to have big sponsors and all that. You have to put the boat somewhere. You have to work a
Hmm.
lot of evenings and nights, and I wish I can at least drive it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
me an owner, I don't. I don't think so unless I win lottery. But I really wish I could at least race it only at least once.
Yeah.
Hope so.
No, I think obviously Grand Prix is not just a earn it class. You got to be able to afford it, and
Yeah.
stars got to align in a lot of situations. But
Uh-huh.
I think speak for a lot of people in saying that you definitely earned the you've earned it on merits. I've
Thanks.
watched it for the last few years, and I want to say the first year I saw you driving, and I was still learning. I was out of racing, wasn't going to as many races for a while, and then came back and started going to more, and was kind of relearning all the new names because the faces change in boat racing pretty frequently. There's a lot of the same, but also a lot of new all the time. And I remember your boat stands out, kind of the dark black with the green, and I remember thinking, damn, that boat's pretty fast, and seeing you get faster every year, and like you said, top 3 finish the last 2 years, and like I said, I'm pulling for you. I hope you can get it done this year.
Do you guys know that that boat is the oldest boat in the HRL in the 350 class?
Really?
Yeah, it's been built in the winter of '96. It got out in '97, so it's an old boat.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
So
But
and I
also,
would imagine you have the new Henderson sponson on that
yep,
compared
yep,
to the
yep,
original Bergeron ones.
yeah. We got it in 2020, so in the COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like
And
we've
it's
seen
the
that break
first
a few boats
Bergeron.
up? Sorry, go ahead.
Pardon? It's the first Bergeron to have Henderson sponsors on. Was
Okay.
like a prototype. They never done it on a 350 boat, so it did good. It did good.
Okay, that's
yeah,
what I was going to ask. I mean, we've seen that move be made a few times recently, and I wasn't aware that your boat was the first to do that. But we
Yep.
saw with Leger and Carl. I mean, it really woke
Yep.
both those boats up, and I mean, those guys were both running right up at the front. I mean, I think from 2 years ago, some of the guys, and I don't want to call them back runners, but in 350, if you had to say some guys that maybe were running towards the back of the pack, I mean, those guys shot straight to the front of the field, and
Well,
it's
I saw a big difference. Just starting the boat. First corner is crazy.
mhm.
It turns so well with those sponsons. It makes it easier to drive. So and it's faster. So it did a good job. So it for old boats like we have, it's the next thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
it's cool that that people are able to find ways to use, and we've seen it in several classes and different iterations. We use old hulls and add sponsons to them, put a new cell, whatever it might be to make them
Yeah.
fast. Um, we saw what they're doing with Joe Less's boat, and I think they might
Mhm.
have another one of those here soon. So it's cool to see that, and it adds boats to the field. I think if there's any class that doesn't need more boats, it's probably 350. But I'd argue you can never have enough.
No.
Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. You got anything, Austin?
Yeah. No, not really. I guess we haven't really talked about it. You're obviously from Valleyfield, so you might be slightly swayed in this opinion. But do you have a favorite course that you like running at?
Uh, I hate driving in Valleyfield. So if you ask me, it's not there. I don't do good job here. So one of my favorite courses is Cambridge. I love Cambridge.
Mm.
Cambridge,
Oh,
big
I
white turns. Yeah, one of my favorite is Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like it.
we've talked about Cambridge a few times. It's cool that we are lightly pushing it on Chasin Tails right now. We like the idea of the cone shaped course where you have one small turn, one big turn. I think it promotes
Yeah.
good racing. Did you ever get to
Yeah.
race in Detroit?
Oh yeah. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it's a hard track to drive. When you get out of the rooster tail turn in front of the grandstands, you have to hold your steering wheel because the waves are getting in the sponsons and it hits hard. But it's a mile and a quarter, I think, course,
I believe so.
and I didn't have a good setup for the Detroit race, but I really wish we returned there because. It's a fun track to go. People are amazing over there.
Yeah.
They're it's kind of like in Valleyfield. People like racing over there, so it's a really
Right.
cool place to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it. There was talks about that race potentially coming back in some capacity this year. It didn't, or this past season, it didn't pan out. Um, Hopefully they can get that one back. I know we've talked about it a few times. I never got to see it personally. I've seen it on video on YouTube, but the 350 race in there, everybody's always spoken very
Yeah,
highly.
Andrew did a hell of a job over there.
Yep.
His fans were crazy over there. It was
Yep.
fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope we get that race back. We're from about 45 minutes from there, so it'd be nice to have a
I
race we
really
don't have to
hope.
drive forever. But it's also, I remember going to that race when I was younger. I don't think they had 350s running there yet, but
No,
unlimited.
I think it's only Grand Prix and the unlimited boats, but
Yeah.
don't remember.
So now, taking race course out of it, and unless your answer is not Valleyfield, but if it is Valleyfield, we'll go outside of Valleyfield. What is your favorite race weekend of the year? Everything, not just the course. The experience, the town.
Well, one place I like to go is Tonawanda.
Okay.
The Tonawanda race in the park, the fans are great. There's a lot of people there, a lot of food trucks and all that.
Mm-hmm.
People are very good, and the crew that welcomes us with the pizza, the wings, and all that,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very, very cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
the
a cool.
Tonawanda race is a good gathering there. Yeah.
Tonawanda definitely gives that, I won't say old school, but that kind of grassroots boat race vibe. That's one that I was actually chatting with Eddie Canfouche last week, and he showed me this website. It's got a bunch of old boat racing pictures, all the way back to like Rocky Fork in 2004, and seeing what the social life was like in the pits back then. And not saying that we don't have fun in the pits now after races, but um, just not as much. We don't have those pit parties and stuff as much. And I like that Tonawanda brought that idea back. And I think Cambridge is kind of trying to do the same thing as well. And we've talked about it a few times. It'd be cool to see more races get on board with that.
Yeah, like in Madison, one day I'd like to go there, but
Mm-hmm.
Madison is kind of like a big happening over there with
Yeah,
the parade and all that, the parties.
yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
I'd say in terms of APBA races, Madison's the closest you get. I can't speak for the West Coast races. I've never been out there, but the ones that I've been to, it's the closest you're going to get to Valleyfield and that kind of big event, kind of town festival
Yeah.
experience. Decatur was very impressive this past year as well. I'd also, if you you know looking to experience more APBA races in the future, it's another one to check out, and that generally I think be trying to get title events too, which makes it a little more sweet.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process behind going from the green to the orange? Just looking to change it up a little bit.
Well, it was supposed to be orange at first, so
Okay.
I only went back to my first idea. That's why I didn't change the pattern of the boat. I only changed one color. The green was for a sponsor I had,
Gotcha.
an Irish pub, so
Yeah, that
that
makes
was
sense.
why the green. It's not too how do you say that? I don't know. The green is not a good color to put on a boat. No.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, I will say nobody can say they didn't see you down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's no excuse. You're gonna have more neon. It's not really neon orange, but bright orange than anybody's got. Helmet, driving suit, all of it.
Yeah.
No question. Definitely safe. So, are you planning on doing any testing prior to the season? I know we got APBA testing soon, Edgewood. I know you guys do a lot of testing up there at the bridge, I believe. So,
Yep. It's gonna be next Thursday, on 1st of May. I already called the crane guy, and I'm going testing there if Mother Nature's okay with that. The boat's ready, motors in, electricity is all A1. There's even gas in the tank, so I'm ready. I just need to go and put the boat in the water, trying to
Nice.
test a few things. We did a few modifications on the boat, nothing major, but I just want to go see if everything is good or if I have to do some more changes,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to
Absolutely. Trust me, we go test and we still find stuff when we get to Cambridge.
oh yeah. Well, for an HRL, Cambridge is if is the most important race of the year. But if you get out of Cambridge in the first four at the championship, you'll have good lanes all year.
Yeah.
So it's the most important race of the year. So that's why I want to be ready for Cambridge. It's important every year. I have to be ready. So we worked all winter on the boat just to be ready for that race, and after that, everything rolls on. So
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Honestly, I'm surprised. You're one of the few people that have brought that point up. The way the lane assignments work after the first week. You can get yourself stuck in a gauntlet there in the middle, or even outside and having to work. At some point, you're gonna have to go through the middle to get to more favorable lane assignments.
yeah,
It's
but with the HRL format, if like in 350, if we have four heats, if you finish in the first four, you're always getting lane one or last lane for
yeah,
the first two heats. So it's a lot easier that way. But when you finish like in the middle, well, you start in the middle, so it's
yeah.
a lot harder.
See, I learned
So
I learned that rule on the hydro sim before we even ever raced. We would do similar. We call it cutthroat, same style format for the weekend, 3 qualifiers and a final. And if in your qualifying time you got yourself into lane 3, you pretty much ran in lane 3 the whole night, and
yep.
it's not fun.
No, it's not fun. I've
Yeah,
been there my first 3 years, so that's why I figured it out. It took a
yeah.
long time, but
Hey, it's
it.
good for the experience.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You have to hold your steering and watch who's coming and
Hmm.
hope for the best.
Yeah, try to beat them to the first turn at least, make it a little easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So outside HRL, you plan on doing any other races, any APBA events this year?
Well, the only race APBA I did was like a PatCon
Yeah.
at the end of the year. We went there when it was in May. We did it. It was in May a few years ago. But for now, I don't know if we're gonna do any APBA races. What I work on a budget, so if I have the budget to go, we'll go.
Fair enough.
But it's always hard trying to find sponsors and all that.
Mhm.
We work hard, but
No, absolutely.
all depends on that.
Yeah, no, no doubt.
Because I'd be everywhere. I'd be in Lakeland. I'd be in Gator. I'd be in Madison. But budgets, we got a limit on that.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I
It's
know.
a lot
I
of time
think.
on roads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you pulled boat races, just about anybody would show up every weekend if the resources weren't a factor.
Yeah.
So
Because I have a good boss. My boss he's on my crew. So if I want to go to a race, he's pretty flexible on that.
yeah,
So I'm pretty
that's the way to
lucky
do it.
on that.
That's the way to do
That
it.
works out pretty well.
That's cool.
Yep. Yep.
Very cool. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on tonight. Like I said, we're looking forward to watching you race this year. I got high hopes for you. Hopefully, we can get another prediction right here on Chasin Tails. And it's gonna be a fun season. I mean, last year was really fun in HRL. HRL's got a great thing going right now, and obviously with the unfortunate news with Cambridge not having GPs, 350s are kind of going to be the main attraction, and like a lot of people are going to be looking. You guys put on a good show, and I have no doubt that you guys are. You always do. Um,
Every time.
so yeah,
Uh,
Austin, you got anything else to add?
No, just super thankful for coming on, and like Kyle said, I know it's been a 2 years of two, so I think this is the year you break that and
hope
hopefully
so.
come out with a first.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, you guys. I'm glad to have done it. And my English is a little rusty, but
No, you did great.
we'll work on that.
You did
Half the
great.
time
You
ours
did.
isn't
It's
much better. So
way better than our French, I can tell you that.
yeah.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you here in a couple weeks in Cambridge, and best of luck to you with the testing and safe travels on your way down there.
Thank you, guys. See you there.
Yep. Take care.
So, all right.
Also, I don't think you ever actually put it live on Facebook.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. I hit live on this, and it's
We'll
it's
post.
live on YouTube
We'll,
though.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll post it. We'll post it after. That was cool.
Brandon's a little bit more technical than all of
Yeah,
us. If
whatever.
no one's guessed that by now.
It would have been all right if we would have known. I don't know how I missed his snap story. I just went and looked. I guess he's down in Florida. So oops.
Yeah, driving the
That was
boat.
that was cool though. I know I feel bad that we brought up him finishing in second twice in the last 2 years, but
It's
as
motivation.
much as that sucks, and I am sure he is so ready to get after it this year and try to get over that hump. It also speaks a lot to like his consistency, um, and quite frankly, it's necessary in 350.
Yeah.
Any mistake can cost you a championship. Any mistake can knock you out of a final. And weekend to weekend, you miss a final. I'm gonna guess you probably pretty much can't miss a final and
Yeah.
win championship in 350.
And I mean, hell, as bad as it might be, him getting second place 2 years in a row is almost a good thing when you look at the winners have been two different winners.
Yeah.
So he's at least
Yeah,
staying
repeating in
consistent.
350, I don't know how many times, especially in recent years, not to knock
Yeah.
anybody from years past, but
No,
in recent years, we've
four,
seen the most competitive 350
yeah.
racing ever.
And we're going 4 heats deep each weekend. That's
Yeah.
just
And I'd say
that's
just the
insane.
range from like, quote unquote, slowest boat to the fastest boat is narrower than it's ever been.
Yeah.
You don't see guys getting lapped that much anymore, like ever.
Yeah.
It's not in HRL. I mean, you might see it in APBA a little bit, but you don't see it in HRL really, and that's what you're looking for. You don't see it in any class really, unless there's a boat having an issue, which is awesome. That's what you're looking for. So, like I
Definitely.
said, rooting for Eric this year. He's my pick. I think the whole crew here will do some picks in the next week or two as we get closer to the season. But we kind of touched on it before the podcast, but we test and tune, or not before, but the first attempt at going live. But test and tune this weekend. We already covered Waters should be good or is good. A few people going. I remember the list that we saw. There was a pretty solid 30 people on the original list.
I think so. I have at least that post. Billy Noonan commented there's 5 or 6 350s. Should have the 97, the 500, the 323, the 132, the 55, and the 100.
Okay.
I'll
We'll
be
see if I can
honest,
dig
I
back and find
don't know who a couple of those are, but
So I got the list that he. This is like a tentative list from earlier, from about a little less than a month ago. You got the Y40, the Y69, the S20, the S500, which I believe that's Kenny would be the F500, or sorry, Eddie. The 22, which is Sontag, the 49, the 92, A63. I don't know if that's gonna be there. Maybe. The E8, which is Alex, right? The 55,
yes, but
the
I'm not sure he's
323.
making it.
Okay. 55, 323, Lidico, Les, the E100. Who's E100?
Tony Black
Tony Black.
and Tom Newman.
National Mod 6,
I believe.
72, maybe Kreitzer's GNH. Then a couple OPCs, it looks like. Oh, no, just some more. These are vintage. So, yeah, but either way, should be a good crew there. It was a good turnout last year. Would you have 25 votes, something like that?
So just about, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully better weather. Everybody can get out there, get some good laps in.
When in doubt,
If
it's
not,
always a great time for
Edgewood.
everyone to get around and hopefully stay away from the luggage carts and stuff. This year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And if not, come to
No.
Edgewood 2 week after. I think it's the
Week
weekend
after?
after. Have I not I haven't seen the circular, but 2.5 T boat, sure Y boats if enough want to
Skiffs
show
will
up.
turn out.
350 skiffs. I know. I'm sure the GP35 will be doing some testing there.
Huh.
I don't know. I haven't done a ton of like just straight up testing, and testing's great. You got to go out by yourself, really focus on data, but you kind of got to put it into practical application at some point too. I think that was kind of the nice part about not really getting the chance to go run the boat on our own much, other than those couple laps in Edgewood the one time. Kind of just had to figure it out right off the bat.
Yeah. You had a couple
good
laps
and
in
bad.
Edgewood?
I guess what's that?
You had a couple laps in Edgewood.
Yeah, my radio.
You didn't get like one turn in a straightaway.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you broke down.
No, you
What do you
getting
mean?
the throttle stuck.
No, that was this past year, not the year before. The first year we were racing. I went out there, thought I was only supposed to do 3 laps. I did like 7.
Yeah, you just went.
I was gonna run that thing out of gas.
Almost did.
That'd have been cool. Been a good story.
Yeah, I don't know. I think trial by fire is almost good though in boat racing. A lot of the data you get, which I mean, as good as it is, a lot of it truthfully isn't applicable when you get out on the course, and you got the waves from
Water
the other
changes
boats, and wind gets different, temperature's different. I mean, well, it might be a little bit better now, but running an ECU instead of the 50-year-old carburetor that gets temperamental sometimes.
And I know, this will only be my 3rd year and only my 2nd year, kind of getting back into it after an off season or second time. At least last year, that first heat was kind of like a system shock for a second.
Oh yeah.
Some of it was the new boat, but it was a little bit of a system shock, kind of getting used to the feel again. I'm sure that shock gets less and less as time goes on, but yeah, I think everybody, maybe some of the more experienced drivers don't need that refresher, but I know it's nice to kind of have that in a non, series environment. We're at least us, we're not really going to enough races to be competing for high points this year. So, still trying to win, still trying to go out there and put on a good performance, put up a good performance, but don't have to worry about season long ramifications and the points if something goes wrong or you're not up to speed or you want to take it easy for heat.
Exactly.
And so hopefully, I know they worked pretty hard to make Edgewood happen this year. Hopefully they can get a few more boats. I think they got a little more than the first year last year, or close. So hopefully they can get a few more. It works well. It sucks that this time it's not one weekend before Cambridge, because that was really a good selling point for a lot of the teams up in Canada.
Definitely.
But maybe a couple of them will still come down, use the opportunity. And maybe, if Testing Tune, something goes wrong with Testing Tune, maybe that incentivizes more people to come to Edgewood. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know, man. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I know we got the only other thing I can think of is I know Chelan's coming up out west. I'm not totally
is that
sure.
next weekend? Same weekend as Edgewood?
I think so. I think it is.
Okay.
I know.
So, season's right around the corner.
Yeah, I know all those guys are getting their stuff ready. Saw Monkey post his boat. Jeff had his boat back on the trailer. Kips is going back on like this week. Just getting the T3 ready to get back out there with another new rookie, maybe I read, or no, that
he said another rookie or a new rookie,
yeah.
I think, or maybe
also,
it's.
I know John is also putting a new rookie in the boat.
That's who it is. Maybe
yeah.
I think Madden's probably still driving Jeff's. Could be wrong though.
Yeah. Either way, young kids and boats. It's awesome seeing the T class on both sides of the country still up and going. Yeah,
did you see Asher Kelly ran this weekend? He had his first weekend in the J class. I know there's a lot of guys there, but I just specifically saw J Mike's post. I guess he went out and won his first heat, but got DQ'd because he was supposed to stay on the outside. that is, I mean, that's it's like got to be the most Kelly thing possible. Just going straight for the buoys. Okay. No, that's funny. That's cool though. I hopefully we can get them on at some point. Talk a little bit about that. You got somebody brand new in boat racing, somebody at the tip top, and then you got Carson, who's kind of in the middle of that, working his way up. He's in T-boat.
No, he'll be back. back in that this year. He's got a new boat this year, I believe. Taken over Haley's
Yeah.
boat. Haley Scarborough was driving.
So is his? I saw somebody. Is his turning into a 1 liter?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a different boat. I saw a picture
I
of a
think
boat.
that was a
It was
different
all white.
boat.
It looks similar to his.
Yeah,
It could be. Maybe it's a different boat.
not sure. I know we talked about it before. Katie Brown's going up to the 1 liter class this year.
Yep.
That should be cool seeing her take the step up. She's done pretty good in the T class last couple of years, and
Mm-hmm.
she gets some more speed now.
Yep. Yeah, and I know. I think Carson. This will probably be his last year in T boat, and then he'll move into. I'm not sure. Because he's 14 right now, I think, or I could be wrong, but he would move into. I think the plan is to move him into the 12 once he's old enough, and J makes helping get that thing dialed in for him. It's already a super fast and competitive boat, so
Yeah.
he'll be ready to hit the ground running once he's ready, or once he's old enough to step into that.
Yeah,
It'll be cool. We're gonna have a lot of young guys in the 2.5T, some in the 1 liter class here, 350 in a couple cases. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple of years. People moving classes and new rivalries forming and stuff like that. We've talked about it on here. I think it's cool. We've talked about this before too, but a lot of the young guys, and some of it's with time, but I think a lot of us, while we compete and we want to beat each other, and we have our strategy, we all get along really well off the course, and hopefully we can maintain that. There's a lot of decade-long friendships you see, from our parents and siblings and stuff like that. So hopefully we can kind of have another generation of that. That'll be cool to see.
Definitely.
But yeah. Other than that, I guess we'll call it an episode for episode 47. Get back next week, kind of do some more preview on Edgewood when we have a little bit better understanding of who all is going to be there. Maybe some recap from Test and Tune. I know Eddie's going to be down there, and he hopefully can get. I'm gonna try to talk him into getting some footage for us. Maybe a couple interviews, just something that we can share with people.
Trying to get them to go live.
Yeah,
I think that could go badly, but
yeah, it could. Right. But I mean, it can't go that badly. Pipes isn't down there, so we should be able to manage. True. But either way, so all right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode 47 of Chasin Tails. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. We're gonna keep season's ramping up, so we're gonna ramp up here with Chasin Tails. We're gonna have a lot more content to share with you. We'll have some more recent action to talk about on these episodes. And we're looking forward to getting the season started. We talked to Eric today. He's ready to go, and I know we're seeing a lot of stuff happening with boats on Facebook now. It's crazy season. Everybody's thrashing to get ready, but basically a week and a half away from boats hitting the water and races. So tune in these upcoming weeks. It's going to be a lot of information to share, a lot of racing to talk about, and let's get this season started. Have a good night.